could, just kind of recap the spring practice.
Yeah, I mean, every spring you're trying to figure out what next year's team is going to look like, and certainly you've got pieces coming back like everybody that you feel confident in, that you're excited about, you know what to expect from. But there's always a lot of pieces that you're missing that you're going to need guys to step up. And the biggest piece of it, I believe, is leadership, figuring out who the next group of leaders are going to be on that team. And in 2023 team, certainly we have guys that have to step up there. So that's been fun to see. Leaders rise, take control of the team, and start shaping the direction that we're going to go a little bit. But all in all, really productive spring. Really excited about where we're at. Certainly at this point, there's a whole lot of work to do between now and opening day to feel like we're game ready week one. But feel good about where we're at, the progress we've made. It's a good starting off point for the off season.
Before that, I'm going to just triple check.
What was your biggest takeaway from the spring?
I mean, the biggest takeaway is that, our depth on the offensive line is a lot better than where we were last year. Certainly you go from having one starter that you had penciled in to now having, 4, and then the 5th spot's up for grabs instead of having 4 spots up for grabs. So the continuity there has been a lot better. Certainly it needed to be from where we were last year, but we're in a much better spot there. Zion's the only quarterback that went through spring, but you feel really good about 3 quarterbacks you have that can win games for you. Ben's played really well last year. Chandler did as well. Zion did last year as well, but this spring you see him grow up and really take the next step to being the quarterback. So, that's where you feel really good about depth in certain places like safety, linebacker, defensive line. That's where you've got to develop depth. I think that's what can help make you a little bit different and unique in this league.
You graduated all 7 of your all Sun Belt selections from last year. How do you go about replacing production on both sides of the ball?
Well, it's like anything. You have new guys that have to step up and have to fill those roles. And we've done a good job here of playing a lot of players over the years. And last year, certainly we were able to play a lot of young guys and played in significant moments in the game. Naturally, the natural order of things is that those guys have to grow up, step up, and contribute. So a lot of times you don't go 1 for 1, right? You lose a Zion Hill. It may not be 1 for 1, but you make up for it with depth and with different players and the things that they can do. So we're excited about those guys. That's the fun part about coaching. Every year you lose players and you have turnover and you have those things that happen, and it's our job to find the next group of guys that can fit into those roles and make those plays that need to be made.
Who's impressed you in the spring that could take on a larger role this fall?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you feel like a lot of guys have potential to do that. Certainly we've talked about the safety position with Skip and T. Lou and Cortland Flowers and all those guys. You expect them, they're going to have to play a bigger role with what we lost there. At receiver, Charles Robertson, Jaden Johnson have impressed for young guys. We feel good about the older ones that are starting in front of them, but we always play at least 2 deep in those spots. So those guys definitely have to step up and do that. In the running back position, certainly you lose Chris Smith, who's been here for a long time. And the running back group had a good spring, but Draylon Washington, I would say, had to have stood out probably the most coming out of spring. At this point, if you're not excited about what you got coming up in the fall, it's going to be a long year. So, we feel like there are a lot of guys that have potential to really contribute and be difference makers for us.
Louisiana's had 6 players selected over the past 3 NFL drafts. What would it mean for Michael Jefferson to add his name to that list?
Well, anytime you add another name to the wall, anytime you add another player who's come here, who's done it here, who's developed here, and moved on and has an opportunity to play in the NFL, it's huge. It's huge for the players that are here. They've seen the work ethic that those guys have. They've seen the practice performance. They've seen the way that they've carried themselves day in and day out. So it's big for your team that you have here. And certainly we have a lot of guys that respect MJ to the nth degree because of the way he's carried himself. It helps in recruiting. We tell players that we've got a plan for their development, and we do. Those 6 guys that have been drafted that are from here, when they came here, certainly they weren't draft ready when they got here. And we take pride in developing players. And it's a year-round plan that you have to stick to. And the proof is in the pudding, right? When you're able to continually put guys in the NFL, it says that you're doing a good job in evaluating, says you're doing a good job in developing, and it certainly says that you're recruiting the right type of people that will come here and work hard to get what they want, because you know, we don't get guys that are ready-made here, and that's okay. That's what we want. But I think it helps you in a lot of ways, but it certainly gives you a little bit of validation in the way that you're doing it, saying that you're onto something, you know, when you have that consistently happening.
And lastly, what would it mean for the program for linebacker Andre Jones, a second-team All-Sun Belt pick in 2022, to get an opportunity at the next level?
Well, I guess it would mean the same thing. No, you know, Andre's an example of a guy that came to was really raw, you know, small school, Louisiana product, you know, undersized, underdeveloped, and the guy just came here and worked, and you saw progress from him from day one as a true freshman all the way through to whenever he walked out the door. So, you know, again, I mean, it's what we value, right? We value in going out there and finding players with traits and the right type of kids that we believe have the work ethic, that want to develop. And, you know, those things are, as a coach, that's kind of the reward a little bit, you know, when you take these guys and you get them here and they buy into what you're doing and they have the ultimate success, right, which for all of these guys, they want to play in the NFL. So it's nothing but a good thing, certainly. And, you know, those are two guys that have done it the right way that, you know, personally, you're happy for them when good things happen to good people, and that's two good ones.